Alright, and we should be in. Alright. Hello everybody. Welcome to another round of the Hollow Knight All Skills Current Patch Tournament. This is the losers quarterfinals between Oko and Pyros. Let's see if we can get both of them ready here. And then we should be good to get started. Okay, right. Spicy, if you want to do the honors.
Alright.
So, we have, so Purple doesn't have a leaderboard PB, doesn't have anything submitted to leaderboards, but, I think, her last completed run was, a 1:10, I believe. And, but has been doing a lot of practice since then. Oko does have a PB on the leaderboards, at, 1 hour and 32 seconds. So, hopefully it should be a pretty close race between the two of them.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you mentioned this, but this is in the current patch bracket of the tournament. So both runners will be on 1.4.3.2, which means the all skills run will be significantly changed compared to the 1-2-2-1 matches that make up a majority of this tournament.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Especially considering all skills, the 1-2-2-1 route focuses mostly on the early obtaining Shade Soul early by buying //. Because on patch 1.2.2.1, Team Cherry in their Infinite Wisdom accidentally made it so that you could hit city levers through walls. So that made for a lot of fun routing decisions that we can make around especially getting // early, especially since we can just get Shade Soul very, very quickly. But on current patch, that was fixed. And so we have to do a lot of things more or less intended. Fortunately, we can still come into Right Side City using the Shade Skip, which is a little bit faster, I believe. There is an alternate route using left side, but I'm not actually sure if it's any faster.
Yeah, I think they determined that the Militia route was slightly slower, but it definitely doesn't save as much as in 1-2-2-1 to go right side, because it was under consideration.
Yeah, definitely. Alright, so there are a lot of small pieces of speed tech that we are missing on this patch. Most notably inventory drops. On patch 1.2.2.1, which most of the runs in this tournament will be on, for the 1.2.2.1 bracket specifically, you can open your inventory in midair and that will uncap your full speed. On current patch, you can't open your inventory in midair, but you can do so on the same frame as leaving a ledge, which is quite precise, but definitely not too difficult a trick to go for, and especially in these early game segments, you want to be going for them as much as possible. So
yeah, especially right here at this elevator drop, because it saves a significant portion of time to get that inventory drop, which makes it worth going for the tight input.
Yeah. You see Oko opened inventory on the ledge there, so if you do it too early, then you will open your inventory on the ledge and just stand there, and if you press it too late, then you'll just walk straight off the ledge and not open the inventory. It's a really frustrating trick to get wrong, but it does save a fair amount of time.
Yeah, well, I just saw both runners do the Aspid Spike kill, which is notably significantly more consistent on the current patch version of the game. One of the few things that current patch makes easier as opposed to harder than 1-2-2-1.
Yeah, unfortunate Pyro's taking a dunk in those spikes, as we will affectionately refer to as an Ipa for the boomers in the Hollow Knight community. But yeah, that is a very, very bad spike pit to fall into, because that one puts you right at the back at the beginning of the room, and loses you somewhere in the order of, I want to say 6-7 seconds, just because of how far through the rim it is.
Yeah, it's a really brutal hazard respawn.
Yeah, definitely. And you can really see, tiny mistakes in this early section. You don't really think of them too much, but they can cause really, really massive leads in these races very early on.
Yeah, the first split of this run doesn't have too much tech-wise, but there's definitely a lot of room for time to be lost and made up with just small little optimizations.
Yeah, definitely. So, I actually didn't catch Oko's false night exit time, but we'll see when he picks up Vengeful Spirit, fortunately. And get an idea of what the pace is looking like. Yeah, it's suddenly an interesting position to be put in because, normally in these sort of early sections, mistakes, you can reset over very small mistakes in early game and not really feel too bad about it. But when you're forced into a no reset setting like this, it's rather aggravating to realize you then have to live with the mistakes that you'd normally just wouldn't think much of because it's in early game.
Yeah, definitely. I know I've experienced that myself running these tournaments. A couple matches ago, I missed the soft fall in 1-2-2-1 into King's Pass, and that just like tilted me the whole match.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when you think, I've run this so much, I've been through early game like hundreds of times, how am I messing this stuff up? And it's just because you don't really tend to think about it as something that you can mess up, so sort of counterintuitively, it becomes more likely.
Yeah, for sure. We get from Rixian in the chat that the runners are about 28 seconds apart at Vengeful Spirit.
Right, yeah, that's a
Thank you,
pretty
Rixian,
big
for
lead.
keeping track of time.
Yeah, that's a pretty big lead immediately. There is a lot left in the run, obviously. Notably, there are some big things. Ooh, that's unfortunate for Pyros. Fireballing too early, so the boulder had not yet opened.
Yeah, that could be a lot of time here, depending on the spit lock, but Pyros at least gets good spit RNG with the boulder there.
Yeah, but you definitely don't want to be exiting mound as your opponent is just entering green path.
Yeah, it's definitely a big early lead for Ohko here.
So that's about a 542 green path entry for Ohko. Actually, like, not a pretty decent pace. Like, for no resets, I tend to think of, stuff like that is a pretty nice a pace to have, I guess, in these no reset environments, especially with accounting for boulder RNG.
Yeah, boulder RNG being the worst aspect of current patch runs because you gotta do it twice.
Yeah. Yeah, so every boulder has a 50% chance on every spit to spit a baby, and is it just a baby boulder? I never know what they're actually called.
I think so.
But you need each boulder to spit one, and it's a 50% chance. So you have a 25% chance of perfect RNG, and every poor spit you get loses, I want to say, around 1.5 seconds, which is really not the greatest in this category.
Yeah, so coming up for Pyros is a fireball skip, which we use to skip a good few rooms that we would normally have to go through without having dash. But we just do that instead. If you miss the fireball skip, there is a little squit, the flying mosquitoes here, that you can pogo on to get up there as well, which Ohko did when he missed the skip.
Yeah. I also really liked that from Pyros a second ago. I don't like this, though. waiting to gather soul here. Considering there's a moss creep in the next room you can farm, it's
Yeah,
really
there's a
not
moss
worth
creep,
waiting up
a
for that guy.
statue, oh, there's not a statue here in current patch.
Nope. This is a fun little quirk of current patch. There's no soul totem there. Yeah, I really so initially Pyros I think made the smart choice to use 3 fireballs on that first fireball skip. Usually you want to do it with 2. If you're really gaming, you can do it with 1, but you have to be like very, very precise with your jump timing and turnaround for that. So most people will just go for 2. But Pyros, with a little bit of a sloppy turnaround there, decided to do a 3rd and just barely got it. But unfortunately that kind of messes with soul management for the rest of this split. Soul, very important in Green Path, mainly because you need full soul for this Moss Knight that Pyros just killed. And you need to have soul for each of the fireball skips in turn. Which does take a fair bit of work, usually.
Yeah, just about every hit of soul you get in Green Path is important, and you can't miss them. Otherwise, you're going to lose a lot of time fighting a Moss Knight or Hornet or whoever, or a skip.
Yeah. Right, so Pyro's moving on to Moss Knights. Ooh.
This is
Okay.
Oko quits out from Hornet, again solidifying his lead. Pyros decides to wait for the Moss Knights to get closer together rather than doing some of the quicker strats where you just start to hit the rocks first.
Yeah. I'm not so sure about that. You can have there's a pretty safe strat that at least I use in my runs that gets 6 hits on the 5 hits. It basically breaks the first Geo Rock before you even wake up the left-hand knight.
Really?
But yeah, I think we're getting a sync here. Unless Pyros' stream is dead, which would be unfortunate this early on.
Yeah, that would definitely seem more likely since Oko is currently ahead. We would see him frozen.
Hmm.
Oh no.
Hmm. Well, I'm looking at the okay. Well, his stream doesn't appear to be dead on Twitch. Yeah, stream is up, but it looks like the restream might be having a moment right now. But in the meantime, Oko coming up to ePogo here. Let's see. So this is a fairly new. Oh, that's really unfortunate. That's a fairly new variation of the trick. Oh, gonna go for Panther Pogo instead, and gets it first try.
Impressive.
So what Oko went for first is an easier variant of current patch ePogo, that we've affectionately referred to as Comfy Pogo. It was found it was labbed out by, I think, Cthulhu and Ski. But in the end, it's a very lenient. It's very complicated, but all of the inputs you have a fair amount of lenience on. And Pyros' stream has just come back up, and I can't help. Oh, was that a Hornet death?
Yeah,
I feel
he's
like that
back
was,
at, or she's back at the start of Green Path. So that's not what we want to see here.
Alright. That's really unfortunate. Yeah, going from behind and then Hornet death as well is really, really unfortunate, especially Oko relatively clean. Like one missed ePogo, as long as you get an ePogo second try, you're not really too bothered by that. Otherwise, you have to walk around for 30 seconds, and it's kind of a massive time loss.
Yeah, I don't know how Pyros is going to catch up here.
Yeah. Pyros went for Man Pogo, but unfortunately jumped too high on the second one. Yeah, you can't do that, unfortunately. That Moss Creep is just a little bit too short for you to Pogo it up.
I was wondering. I was like, I'd never seen that before, but
Yeah, no. Yeah, unfortunately, it just doesn't quite work.
But yeah, no, Green Pass probably one of the worst places to die in the all skills run. So it's really unfortunate that Pyros took that death to Hornet there.
Yeah, actually, it might
Loses.
even be a worse death than Peaks, because at least with Peaks you have if you hit the lever, then you can come back, and if you didn't hit the lever, then you still have dash, to get you back relatively quickly. Whereas here, you have to walk the entire way, and your only solace is you don't have to do geo collection.
Yeah. I think it's been timed out, like in the races where we have seen people have to run back, usually around 3 minutes of time loss, maybe a little more. So it's really going to leave Pyros with a big gap, dying already behind.
Alright, yeah, that was... So let's hope for a better Hornet 2 this time. Hornet 2? Hornet 1. Not there yet. In anticipation.
Oh, and Oko dies too.
Ah. Oko
Just
throwing
a
for content,
hux.
you love to see her. Okay. So for anyone who does not know, we kill ourselves here deliberately in order to spawn our shade, which Oko will use to shade skip up, and this allows us early access to right side city. So we can get more or less... This route is always kind of weird to think about, because you shade skip to right side city, only to immediately go back to left side city, where you then get dive. It's always a little bit contradictory, but the main reason we do it is just simply to open it up, and to have the Watcher's Spire bench is particularly helpful to quit out to several times in the run.
Yeah, that Watcher's Spire bench is very important, and there will be a couple rather long segments where we're not allowed to quit out, or are not allowed to sit at a bench because we're going to need to quit back out to it later, namely Crystal Peaks, which is one of the scariest sections of the runs, especially in a race setting.
Yeah, it's always slightly nerve-wracking. For me, because I started running this game with any percent, coming into all skills and then having to consciously make myself not sit at King's Station bench was certainly a ride to get used to.
Yeah, the whole peak split is very different between current patch, not current patch, all skills and any percent, because any percent gets to quit out right at Crystal Heart, while any percent gets to quit out right at Crystal Heart, while all skills has to go all the way to Crystallized Mound and then Dreamnail after getting Crystal Heart. So health becomes much more of a factor. You have to be a lot more careful, and we'll see that later.
Yeah.
But before that, we have Sanctum.
Yeah, really like this from Oko.
Rough part.
Grabbing the bench here before Sanctum. If you're not at full HP, then yeah, definitely it's a good choice. But also for a tournament race, you know you're ahead, and well, depending on if Oko is watching the stream, he could have no idea. But Oko's had a pretty good run so far, and taking this bench takes a couple seconds at the and you don't end up spawning back at Salubra if you die in Sanctum, which is very doable. You can go from 5 to 0 HP pretty quickly in Sanctum if it decides to screw you over a little bit.
Yeah, Soul Twisters are very unfriendly, and we have to see a lot of them in the current patch run of this category, having to go through what is deemed as Hell Rune. That 1-2-2-1 skips.
Yeah. Paris, please don't die here. Okay, thank you. Okay, phew. Yeah, getting Mantis Pogo and then falling down again. Absolute mixture of emotion there that I feel to my very core. Okay. Oko not doing the it's actually was recently I don't want to say found because I don't actually know if it was a recent discovery, but it was recently posted that you should take a little bit of a wider route in this room just to avoid the soul twisters spawning in your way. And it is a lot more consistent for me, definitely. And you saw Oko got kind of bullied by the twisters that spawned right in his way.
Yeah, and that won't be the last we see of him. We have one in this room that's probably right about to teleport into his face. Oh, no. It was nice. And then this upcoming room, there are 3 soul twisters that will have to be avoided while doing some platform, which isn't fun. I've seen learning that room described as you got to go in with a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C, and then they'll all go wrong, and you just have to wing it. Because those soul twisters always seem to be in your way. Oko did a good job at making sure he didn't die there.
Mm-hmm. Alright. Alright. So this Soul Master fight, a little bit unfortunate with all these dives. Dives are actually the worst attack to get, even though you can get 1 or 2 hits on each of them pretty easily. It means that you can't go for fireballs and for double hits, which are our biggest source of damage in this fight. Ooh, okay. Oh, that's
no.
unfortunate. Okay. Yeah, just walking into him, I'm gonna guess to a Eaton Nail input because you can never have faith in this game's input handling.
Yeah. So that def won't lose Oko the lead, especially because of that he took that Spire bench, which was definitely a very good play. But it will give Pyros a little bit more of a chance to get back into this race.
Yeah. Oh, unfortunate. Pyro's getting a Shade Fireball. Okay. Opted to not hit pre/slash the Shade, so he had she had 2 pogos.
Yeah, I wonder if that was intentional or just a mistake.
I think it was. Okay.
I almost asked what Oko was doing, not going to get the lever, and then remembered he took a death.
Yeah. Alright. So, Oko should still be a fair amount in the lead here. I want to say this death loses about 1.5 to 2 minutes.
That sounds about right. And since Pyros was behind by about 4, you know, it's still a pretty significant lead on Oko's end.
Alright. Okay, scaring me again.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to comment as much as possible because I do know of the power I have to, as a commentator, to curse the runners.
Of course. Something to point out that doesn't affect Oko's chances of surviving is he did get a nice little trick where if you stagger Soulmaster close to the spikes on the right side of the arena and hit him into the spikes, it'll actually do 50 damage, which is about, I'd like to say, like 2.5 Shaman Fireballs.
I believe that might... I'm pretty sure that's actually fixed in current patch, though I might be wrong. Yeah. But,
I
might
get
be wrong.
excited when I get it.
Oh well. Or at least I've never seen it, if it is, and I think I've staggered him near the spikes a fair couple times. Okay. Purple not trusting that husk, absolutely understandable. I would not. I absolutely hate that first husk in that corridor with a burning passion. He will just get in your way constantly.
Yeah, and health is being something you want to be careful about right here, because if you do take a lot of damage, you either have to just heal on your own or go all the way back to the bench, which loses a significant amount of time. Probably about 10 seconds delays.
Yeah, notable with that Great Husk Sentry that Purple just killed is that it does double damage with its nail swings, and it's really, really easy to fall out of sync with, because he can just occasionally decide to do a single swing instead of a double, and that just sort of completely messes up the damage rotation, and you have to suddenly start improvising, which you don't always expect, necessarily, or not always 100% prepared for.
Yeah, while the Sentry is just a normal enemy because we're going to see him with such low gear, it's almost a mini-boss in that sense, and that you really kind of have to have a damage cycle and react as attacks. It's something that 1-2-2-1 runs also get to skip because it lever skips, so that's exclusive to the current patch.
Yeah. Alright, so we should be synced roughly on timers now, so a nice little crossing of paths, going through the same corridor, but in opposite directions.
Yes, we can say they're everyone's favorite metric, one sanctum apart.
Ah yes, my personal favorite.
Shoutouts to Herm.
Alright. Okay, so now Oko will be getting this crucial Spire bench here. And so this bench we will keep for roughly... How many splits is it? Counting is extremely difficult, I'm sorry. I want to say 5 splits? 4 splits.
So it's Cyclone, Crystal Heart, Dream Nail, Descending Dark. Yeah, and Woking Station if you split there, so yeah. 5, yeah.
Yeah. And Shade Soul as well, because you do quit out after Shade Soul. Unless you already said that and I can't.
No, yeah, so 6 splits. 6 splits.
Damn. Yeah, so definitely one of the more well used and abused benches. I think we only quit out to it like 3 times in that, but being able to quit out from the complete right-hand side to the map to the center is a pretty powerful tool.
Yeah, the Watcher's Spire is very centralized in the map. You can get down into Ancient Basin just by going down the spire, get up to right side city or left side city right away, and get all the way to Kingdom's Edge even, theoretically, but we don't use that in the run.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the more central, more utilized benches, especially in, runs where benches, I have a lot of context with randomizer. That's like one of the most useful benches to have, simply because you can go in any direction you want with it, but essentially.
Yeah, for sure. So Oko is heading into Crystal Peaks here. You'll see no Pogax from Oko, unfortunately, but you do have to respect it. Pogax is not an easy trick.
I respect that dive, actually. I wonder if I should start doing that for soul management. But this is a segment that we really don't want to be losing too much health in, because we essentially have 1 health bar from now until Cyclone Slash, which is a long way away. And Peaks is not known for being a particularly forgiving area, and there are several... I say several. There is 1 optional damage tank, which you have to do a pretty precise cycle to get around for Crystal Heart. And then you also have to go through a Dark Room, and then through Crystallized Mound, all without taking too much damage. And of course the crushes as well, but that should be relatively trivial. I just can't do timing to save my life.
Yeah, and crushers can be difficult. Don't worry, everyone struggles. And then another thing to note is, since this is the current patch category, we have to deal with the current patch Crystal Hunters, which will really bully you if you're too slow in Mound or the Dark Room. Just another thing that can damage you in this split.
Yeah. Definitely like an unnecessary bully thing that Team Cherry just decided, yeah, we're gonna make Crystal Hunters just like absolutely destroy you. Oko almost with a full damage cycle and then taking a hit to underplat. You really do hate to see it.
Yeah. Shoutouts to Oko for going for underplat though.
Yeah. You gotta do it. Unfortunate. Okay. Smart actually, overplatting is optimal if you're planning to pick up that soul totem though, so I will appreciate that. And I definitely would pick up this soul totem in Oko's position. You don't want to go through the rest of this on 2 HP, unless you're really, really confident, or just very apathetic about the run.
Yeah, especially in a race setting. I mean, if you're going for a PB and you're like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's understandable. But when a death and peaks will lose you 2 minutes to your opponent.
Yeah. Okay, Pyro's spawning basically every single Folly and Sanctum to chase her.
Yeah.
That's a little bit unfortunate. But yeah, it looks like... Oh. Maybe I was speaking too soon. It looks like she'll get out, though.
Yeah.
Thankfully. Also hit the lever to come back. I'm not sure I really like that. Because you get your next bench fairly quickly after exiting Sanctum, and there's not really much that can kill you after you're out of that room.
Even that lever doesn't really save you that much time either. Even if you do have to use it, it can't be more than a couple of seconds.
Alright. Okay, Oko making it cleanly through the Dark Room, and will grab extra soul as well. And a heal before Crystallized Mound. This is especially good because this area has a particular predilection for just absolutely horrible bullying by Crystal Hunters shooting you into spikes and then shooting your hazard respawn again. So you just get hit 3 times with absolutely no way to stop it.
Yeah, it's really easy to take a lot of damage really quick in Crystallized Mound.
Did Purple just not go for the Watcher's Spire bench?
It looks that way. Hopefully she notices and at least benches at Kings.
Yeah, that's not ideal. Okay, Oko not having... Wait, did have soul. Yeah, Oko going for the current patch inventory drop down there. I think you actually want to dive, because the dive continues after the transition, so you still have the same speed, and then you don't have to stop at the edge and try and go for what is a frame-perfect trick. And won't bench here? Okay.
Yeah, so Pyros does realize. That's good.
Alright. Yeah. Fortunately, it isn't too bad. It's like, I want to say about 30 seconds backtracking to get back to Watcher's Spire bench. But she will want to take it again before she goes and picks up Shade Soul. Alright.
So Oko is just going to use Crystal Heart here to skip the Dream platform, so we don't get to see any exciting parkour except for this underplat.
Let's go.
Thank you, Oko. Let's go.
Making up for the missed Crystal Peaks underplat with a superior underplat. Pyros? Did Pyros skip Crossroads Stag earlier? I didn't notice, but you don't usually come from this direction on this patch. It may be Pyros has the 1-2-2-1 and current patch routes mixed up.
Yeah.
And Oko doing the Zoomer C-Sear skip. You hate to see it.
Hate to see it.
I am truly a I don't want to say pioneer is definitely not the right word. Stickler for boomer strats with that tier skip. It's usually very tight, because we dash out of the room and there's just slightly enough time to get out of the room before you lose control. But with C-Dash, it becomes a lot easier, but I think you actually lose a tiny bit of time afterwards due to not having the fast fall. Okay, Pyro's really going for Pogax here.
Almost got it, but...
Absolutely dedicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a point where you kind of need to say, let's just go on, though.
Yeah, if you don't have a setup, and the miner's gone, yeah.
There we go. Pyros does end up getting it.
We can say Pog, so thumbs up for that, definitely.
Yes.
We've Pogaxed, but at what cost? Yeah, I like that. I liked the first part of that climb from Oko, actually. I might yoink that for my runs as well. Alright.
Yeah, Pyro's taking some time to get some soul from one of the little beetles on the walls before picking up the shopkeeper's key.
Yeah, it's definitely understandable, because as you can see, you can take a lot of damage very easily in this split, and it's not always easy to farm soul back up, so you want to get it where you can.
Yeah, for sure. So Oko here will finally quit out for Motto, and that will bring him all the way back to the Spire bench that we've been talking about so much. And that is why we needed it. That saves an enormous amount of backtracking. So it makes it worth all of the sketchy Crystal Peaks area that we have to go through because of it.
Yeah. Pyro's not opting to dive after missing the inventory drop there at the Crystal Peaks fall. I'm not sure I like that. Even if you want to keep soul for this, even if you want to keep soul for this next section, I think it's definitely worth, because it is a pretty fair amount of time.
Yeah, especially if you're going to do Homophily Fireball there.
Yeah.
It only really saves, I think, 0.1 optimally. It's not.
It saves a little bit more. I think it's 0.5. No, it's significant. It's just not massive.
Not as significant as the dive and the very tall conveyor belt shaft.
Yeah. So Oko going for the worst fight in human history. I hate this fight with a burning passion, because this Soul Warrior can just decide that he's not going to let you attack him at all. Fortunately, Oko got a lot of slashes. You want him to do the dash attack a lot, because every dash attack is one attack where he's not teleporting above you while you're diving. And that's really all you want in that fight, is him to stay out of your way.
Yeah, Soul Warrior teleports can be extremely trolly. Not nice.
Yeah. And Oko again, quitting out to this bench. You might start to notice the pattern here.
And unfortunately, that will be the last we see from Oko of the Spire bench. Say goodbye to our friend as we go off to kill Arian.
It's alright, we can always comms curse him and then have a nice respawn at Watch Nights, but...
Oh no, what did I do?
You can't say that, you must know the power that you hold.
I'm so sorry, Oko.
That's right. Fortunately, Watcher Knights is, while the bane of any percent runners, fortunately we have a fair amount of equipment for all skills, so basically it's a how quickly do you want to take this fight, and how many damage tanks are you willing to take to get to that point. Because you have enough damage to basically do whatever you want, it's just can tend to roll away from you a lot. Oko getting pretty good patterns here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Staying on top of each other. These two knights are always a little bit weird because they spawn so far apart. You typically want to D-Dark in the middle of them. Oko instead opts to focus one of them, which I can also respect.
Yeah, the other option, of course, is to, for the only time in the fight, abandon D-Dark and switch to Shade Soul until the knights roll together, which can also manage to hit both of them from when they're a significant ways away.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a little bit unfortunate because Shade Soul only does 40 damage compared to D-Dark's 88. This is with Shaman Stone. So you really, really want to be using D-Dark as much as possible. And it also gives you a tiny bit of extra safety in that D-Dark gives you iframes, which makes it a lot easier just to sort of chill, and don't really have to worry about dying in the fight. That being said, I have died to Watcher Knights in all skills fairly recently, so I can't really say that with full confidence.
Yeah, I definitely have several times as well. It's one of those fights where you can just try and go too fast, take a couple too many hits of damage, and all of a sudden you're at one mask and you get a bad pattern, and then you're just dead.
Yeah. Alright.
We see an unfortunate fall on Dream Plats from Pyros there. This is still definitely looking like it is Oko's race at this point. Pyros has to pick up Shade Soul and fight the Watcher Knights to catch up to Oko here, and that's a fairly significant amount of time. I don't know what the number would be for it exactly, but it's at least a death on Oko's end.
Para's not getting Siskip, unfortunate, but can't be too unhappy about it. It is still very precise, and if you haven't practiced it a lot and done a lot of button mashing, then it can be very difficult. Okay, Oko going for Isma skips here. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, speaking of skips, Oko's on the Isma skips. So you first try Spike Tunnel, which you always love to see. Spike Tunnel is a rather scary trick.
Fortunately, on current patch, it is made slightly easier. The hitbox is just further apart for no apparent reason. So you have a little bit more space for the Spike Tunnel, but the other two tricks are unchanged. OhkoXar gets all of them first try, which you really love to see. It's almost the most satisfying thing when you do this little section correctly.
Yeah, this little section also being one of the scariest places to go to when you're on good pace and you just know, oh, I could mess up these skips.
Yeah, Spike Tunnel has this amazing quality to feel so easy when you're behind, but as soon as you get ahead, you'll just immediately just start forgetting when to pogo, and you just end up face tanking 4 times to it and cry.
Yeah, and in this area will be one of the first places we get to see some of these Cyclone drops shown off by Oko here. Since we can't inventory drop in the air on current patch, we will use the Cyclone Slash a lot because it on-caps your fall speed just like inventory drop does for whatever reason. You'd think it would slow you down in the air, but Hollow Knight rejects physics.
Yeah. Well, it does actually slow you down in the air, but only if you press the nail button after starting it to extend the Cyclone. If you don't do that, then it just, for whatever reason, it stops checking for your vertical speed, so you just accelerate downwards immediately. in some ways it's actually better than an inventory drop because you accelerate to maximum speed instantly. But on the other hand, you don't have quite you don't have as much range simply because the cyclone ends quite quickly.
Yeah, it'll also be useful in places where you can't drop straight down, because you can move left to right while getting the speed benefit of the Cyclone Slash.
Alright. I was getting a little bit bullied by the flying sentries, but we'll get to this bench, which is fortunate.
While Oko is starting the Broken Vessel fight, uses some of his soul to heal before it starts, which is definitely a good play in tournament setting. Broken Vessel, while not one of the more difficult bosses in the All Skills run, can easily do a couple hits of damage to you.
Yeah. Chad also pointing out Oko opened the shortcut. A wise decision, I think, in these race settings. If you're not already on PB pace, I really think it's probably worth, because it's about, what, 3 to 5 seconds? And we have seen a couple of races in the tournament where people have died to Broken Vessel. And it is certainly not fun. Fortunately, that doesn't happen to Oko, and we'll get wings right here.
Yeah, fortunate. Broken Vessel being kind of like Watcher Knights, one of those bosses that fundamentally isn't that difficult given our gear set, but something you can just try and go a little too fast, play a little too aggressively, and it's really easy to take an accidental death there, no matter how good you are.
Am I missing something? What's Pyro's doing here?
I have no idea.
Is Pyro's going for an early Hornet 2? Or just going back to Kings, huh? I'm very confused by this.
Me too.
This is not what we normally do on the All Skills route. Stacking again.
Maybe it could possibly be...
Oh. Did Pyro's not pick up Cyclone? I must have missed that.
I'm pretty sure Pyro's picked up Cyclone.
Oh, Elegant Key.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's a classic. I still remember having to add this to my splits until I remembered it instinctively.
Yeah, my split is don't forget the key, moron.
Yeah, that's a absolute classic. Alright, cool. So unfortunately that is gonna make the lead bigger here. On the plus side, at least Pyros didn't do what I used to do and forget to pick up Shopkeeper's Key and peek. That's one of the most painful things to have to go back and do. Because you then have to go back into peek, and that's just not conducive to a good gameplay experience.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And it's one of those things that's really easy to do because a lot of categories just run right by the Shopkeeper's Key. Pretty much all the current patch ones do, except True Ending and the 100%. All the 1221s do, and the current patch, any percent, still runs right by it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically you pretty much just have to get used to how 1xx categories do the movement if the current patch, because that room is drastically different when you have to take a pretty big detour for Shopkeeper's Key. Okay, so
Yeah, certainly.
Oko entering Umu. So notably there is a one cycle setup for Umu here that involves a dive at the start, and it looks like Oko gets an extra attack. Will he be able to save it? There are some pretty sketchy things you can do to try and save this, but... Okay... Yeah, it looks like... Yeah, didn't quite get the damage from the dive or the hits for the Shade Souls. Should be a pretty
Unfortunate.
clean 2-cycle though. If you can get the soul, alright. A kind short attack from Umu.
Yeah, 2 fireballs should do it for... Never mind.
Yeah.
3 fireballs will do it.
Yeah. Normally with the 1-cycle you get a full dive and so 88 damage plus 2 Shade Soul doubles and a single. So so missing any of those will always carry into the next, as each one will be an extra Shade Soul that you then have to use.
So Pyros will be fighting the Watcher Knights here, going to pick up her first streamer as Oko picks up his second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Respect the attempt at Cyclone Dreamers. I absolutely love that that's a thing that can happen, but I don't think I've actually seen anyone seriously start using Cyclone Dreamers, even though it is theoretically optimal.
Yeah, even the crazy gamer runners like Axe and Monsta, I don't think I see go for Cyclone Dreamers ever. So that's it's a tough
too
track.
Zoomer strat, SNH. Though I have seen the introduction of Cyclone Chains a lot more for THK, so that could be about to change.
Pyro's looking a little sketch at Watcher Knights here, but it looks like she'll be fine.
Yeah. I appreciate the heal there. Yeah. Right, answering chat, so Cyclone Slash, as we mentioned earlier. So on current patch, we are missing the normal inventory drop trick that we can use on 1221, where you can open your inventory in midair to uncap your full speed. So instead, Cyclone Slash also does that for whatever reason. So you'll see the runners using Cyclone Slashes in a lot of places just to get down a little bit faster. Right. So Oko entering possibly the best section of the run, purely because of the absolute best piece of geo-routing in any category, because we do Mossy Pet here. The absolute best boss fight.
Love to see my Mossy boy.
So a fun fact about this guy, he drops 300 geo. Oh, missing the 1-cycle, that's unfortunate. But he drops 300 geo on current patch and only 120 on 1221, which is one of the reasons why you see him very, very little, apart from in current patch runs, where I know of at least 2 categories that make serious use of it, albeit one of them being Spellless, which is already a category extension, but...
Yeah, I believe 112% also visits Mossy Boy because it's needed for the Pantheons.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not actually entirely sure. I don't think 106 does. I don't think they need that money.
106 does not.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
They can just C-dash over. This is so sad. Can we get some Fs for Mossy Pet in chat?
It's kind of funny. I never thought that you could just like walk past a massive Moss Charger until I was learning 106 and there's like C-dash past and I was like, oh.
Yeah. It's just one of those things that like feels like you should really do it. Okay, I'd go doing a C-dashless entirely. Oh, okay, maybe not. I don't... The rejecting the first and second C-dashes, which are the ones that you can go for not too badly, and then going for the last one, which is next to impossible to do quickly on this patch.
Yeah, definitely an interesting choice.
Yeah, I respect it.
For sure.
Purple farming up a little bit more Geo here. Geo is always a little bit sketch at this section of the run because I don't know anyone that actually tracks Geo right up until they're running towards Hornet 2. because we need. So we buy distant village stag for 250, and then we need to buy dash slash for 800 again. Also, just respecting Pyros' spike tunnel there, rejecting the usual setup, which is to wall jump from the bottom of the wall and then just pogo dash, in return for the infinitely more swag fireball air stall to give you enough time to pogo.
Yeah, it's definitely cool to see.
Yeah. So not knowing the setup for this, and I do respect the swamp farming. You do want to have a lot of health here. But there is a fairly nice setup for this second skip where you just dash off the ledge and then dash back in again, and you end up at roughly the right height. It looks like Paros is trying to come at it from this platform here.
Yeah, I'm weird in that I actually find it easier to go from that right platform, but I just walk off and dash.
Okay. I don't know. I've always done the double dash method, and it's never failed me.
Yeah, that's
I've
definitely
only
what
failed
most people
myself.
do.
I've only failed myself by just pressing C dash at the wrong time, because I'm like that. Right,
Okay,
getting a little bit bullied.
trouble.
Yeah. These squits can be like one of the most infuriating parts of this segment because you really don't want to take too much damage here, and like you don't think about taking damage to squits usually. But in this arena where they're just sort of everywhere and you're trying to just get them with spells and you don't know which ones are real and which ones are fake, and which ones you need to kill. And you just end up sort of seeing red for a bit, and then you end up on 3 HP, and you're like, damn, I actually need to heal here. So OK taking the respectable decision to heal, because QG, this whole section, QG into Dark Deep Nest can be incredibly scary if you're not incredibly confident. I know, for example, Petra Arena is has potential if Shade Souls don't double as they should. But OK getting it nicely though. I actually think I quite like that setup. Shade Souling a little bit early. But oh well.
Yeah, it's definitely my that's actually how I go for it as well. One of the notable things about Queen's Gardens compared to is current patch is a lot different actually compared to the 1-2-2-1 route here, because we have to do extra hits on the Petras because Team Cherry decided just to troll speedrunners and give them 5 extra health, which makes fireballs just barely not one-shot them.
Yeah,
and we also have to go around that parkour.
Yeah. There's also a little fun tidbit where Team Cherry specifically decided that so that C-dash into the transition after we drop. So after where you would normally do the hazard warp in 1-2-2-1, after that drop, you would normally C-dash into the transition. But for whatever reason, the moss creep in the next room is just slightly higher on current patch, and so will hit you out of your C-dash for absolutely no reason. It's one of those really slightly nonsensical things that just makes you laugh a little bit.
Yeah, another thing that I like that is the Durandu in the Great Slash room will hit you if you C-dash into it, the first one, on current patch, but not on 1-2-2-1.
Yeah, there's all these tiny little things that, like, you wouldn't really think add up, but that, along with this category being very sparsely run compared to the 1-2-2-1 alternative, make up for a really, really big time difference between them.
Yeah, I believe the time difference is almost 7 minutes at this point.
Yeah, I think it's closer to 6 now. I think current patch world record is slightly nicer, but yeah, it's still a pretty big difference. Even if like we can attribute about a minute of that to just stuff entirely that out of our control, like for the fact that the timer keeps on running during Dreamer cutscenes. That's just an extra 45 seconds on its own for and that's just a quirk of the timer. And it doesn't like affect runs in the same patch at all. It's just different, I guess. So Oko getting Hera here, and we'll now be moving on to Hornet 2. The potential. This is probably the hardest fight in this category, and one that definitely hurts a lot to die to, because you can get very tilted very quickly in my experience. I also think the runners have a bet here. I think Oko needs to get Hornet 2 first try, and if he dies, then he will be gifting Pyros a tier 2 sub. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, just a little bit of extra pressure for him on an already pressure-heavy fight in the race.
Yeah, I'm doing my best to curse him, don't worry. Okay. Alright, so Oko a little bit short on Geo here. So ideally you have 800 Geo, but Geo routing is kind of weird on current patch. So he's gonna end up with needing to farm, depending on... I think everyone now has moved over to Clockwise Edge, which is good because Clockwise Edge is just better. It saves 2 seconds unless you have 6-second quit-outs like me. And also gives you a bench right before Hornet 2 as part of the route, making it a lot more comfy, especially in a tournament setting. Yeah, and we'll see Oko doing Clockwise here.
Yeah, and this edge routing, clockwise or counterclockwise, is another thing that's exclusive to the current patch category of all skills, because the 1221 has to get / way earlier. But since that isn't a requirement here, it's actually quicker to get it with Hornet.
Alright. Yeah, liking this movement. So, I don't think you get hoppers here. There's a Georock in the next room, yeah, that Oko will grab here, that you can just Cyclone, and it gives you 44 Geo, quite nicely. Though, a fun quirk is that in the same way that... Oh, he got his dash back. God damn. Why do other people always get their dash back, but not me? What the frick? But supposedly, because Cyclone sets your state to grounded, kind of, but not quite. When you land, there is a chance that you just don't get your dash. And the same can happen with 1221 inventory drops. The difference is that you on 1221 usually, especially coming out of Umu, I think, runners will do a little mini hop to make sure they get their dash back.
Yeah. Pyros just misses the 2-cycle Umu, unfortunately. Up slashes Umu a little too high and just can't follow quite quick enough.
Yeah, I think that's actually the original Umu 1-cycle for current patch was an up slash strat. That was being labbed for, I think it was Fury, any percent 1-cycle, 2-cycle. Though, that never came to anything, because, in order for Fury to be worth an any percent, you need to save a lot of time, and, unfortunately the 2-cycle just wasn't really RTA viable. So I think that was a 4-cycle from Pyros?
Oh, it looked like it.
Alright. So Oko and Hornet 2 now. Okay. Not a lot of doubles. You want to be using, Okay, I should stop talking, honestly. Every time I start talking, I feel like I'm gonna immediately curse him.
Since I'm slightly less scarred on the commentator's curse, I'll say we're seeing a lot of D-Dark from Oko here. Not as many attempts at the Shade Soul doubles, which is a little bit safer. But it's a hard boss fight, so you can never be safe enough.
Okay, good. Nice heal.
And with one mask, Oko will kill Hornet 2. Won't have to buy that tier 2 sub.
Okay, that was my heart absolutely pounding right there. Alright.
Hornet is a scary boss. So with the King's brand there, all Oko has left is to go visit the Abyss, where we'll pick up Shade Cloak and Abyssal Shriek, and then it'll be off to THK. So using the closing bit of this run, while Pyros, a decent bit behind, still has to get Hera, as well as Great Slash, before she can finish.
Alright. So now Pyro's entering the some of the nicest sections of the run in terms of most dense movement, I guess. Fog Canyon and Green Path in general are very claustrophobic in terms of platforming. And so you have a lot of very interesting routing through every room that that can really sort of once very well practiced, it sort of looks a bit like an art form to an extent. You know, okay.
Pyro's apparently unsure whether or not she wants to kill MMC.
Yeah. You know you want to do Mossy Pet. That's very important. I actually think she was more debating on grabbing extra soul. But yeah. Fortunately got good RNG with the immediate dash attack. If MMC gives you a jump attack, and you don't have soul to deal with it, then it's usually pretty bad. That's a bit okay. Yeah. Okay, so Oko diving twice down into Abyss. Nice little lineups there that allow us to get all the way down very quickly.
Oko's approaching one of my favorite parts of the All Skills runs, which is the sibling climb. It's just a lot of fun, kind of stressful, but fun. You got to pogo on your siblings to skip a lot of little platforms just to save seconds here and there. It's very
it's certainly one of the nicer. Abyss is sort of like one of those sections of the game that is so well drilled out in terms of movement, especially among top runners. Like, everything from Abyss entry to Abyss leaving is basically done as drill for a lot of practice. Because all of the movement coming in, the movement is quite tricky, maneuvering around sibling RNG. And coming out, you have the Abyss climb, which is infamous for its sort of very. You can go for very, very small time saves here and there, and every single one of them, if you miss a little pogo or a jump somewhere, you will end up face tanking spikes and then respawning at the beginning of the room. Unfortunately missing a Sea Dash on that wall a couple times and ends up dunking in Void Tendrils. A little bit unfortunate, but we'll get towards Shriek. As purple starts going into QG.
Yeah. To answer a question in chat, the tournament did not move to current patch midway. There is a current patch and a 1-2-2-1 bracket. This is a race in the current patch bracket.
Yeah. Yeah, so for some information, this is the losers. Hang on, quarterfinals. I do not know tournament. Yes, losers quarterfinals. So the winner of this match will advance to losers semifinals to compete against Erto Saber, and then the winner of that will get a chance to play the loser of the winners final for a chance to go into the grand final, because this is a double elimination bracket. If that makes some sense. So yeah, both of these runners have lost matches and so have been knocked down to the knockout stage.
We see a really solid abyss climb from Oko. End to it at least. Unfortunately, I didn't see the beginning. I was watching Pyro's Squid Room.
Yeah, seemed decent. Yeah, when it goes well, there's really not a lot to say about it. It's just you did everything correctly, but it's sort of counterintuitive because when you do everything correctly, it sort of feels like I'm being boring, saying, "Well done, you did everything right," but I can't really say anything because while it's incredibly difficult, it's just not incredibly you can't say you got this jump individually.
Yeah, it just happens very quickly. Very chained together on all the little pogos.
And Oko giving us the content we all want, the Spinny Knight. You absolutely love to see it.
Love to see it.
So entering the final fight, the Hollow Knight, if you do any animation that moves you, that allows you to move while you're doing it, then it will continue that animation until you exit the room. Or I think if you fireball, it also breaks you out of that, though I might be wrong.
I've never heard of that, but that would be cool. Might make it actually viable for PB pace runs.
No, you still you lose a fair bit of time because of the you. No matter what you do, you always end up on the far right hand side of the room. Just because it stores your momentum for the duration of the cutscene. And that cutscene is quite long, so no matter what you do, you're going to end up very far over and have to run back. That being said, it is absolutely amazing, and you should always go for it in every one of your runs.
Oh yes, it is a fantastic trick.
Right. Okay, with the unfortunate self-stabs, so while THK is self-stabbing, all attacks only do 1 damage, and an unfortunate instant scream as well. But a very clean scream fight. Not too much drama around it, just a nice sort of scream 3 times and end it off. And we'll see Oko's timer stopping in a couple seconds here.
With a 103 time, that'll put Oko about, I believe, like 2 minutes and 30 seconds behind this PB.
Yeah, definitely respectable for a race time with a death. A death in Sanctum as well, let's be mindful. That's really quite difficult to come back from most of the time. And basically all of that, from watching that, I didn't think there was really too much wrong with execution outside of that Sanctum. Everything else
was a really solid run from Oko.
Was pretty solid. Alright, let's see if we can switch audio over to Pyros here. Hang on.
I got it.
Okay. Alright. So Pyro's now entering Beast Den.
Yeah, thankfully, because in all skills we get wings, we do not have to deal with too many devouts and beasts, and we get to use this nice little dev-intended shortcut that I have no idea how they expected anyone other than speedrunners to find, to just skip right to the end of beast.
What do you mean? It's so easy and clear to see. It's definitely not very, very difficult and obscured and in a place you really wouldn't expect it, considering there's already a fall from the ceiling on the left-hand side of the room. It's one of those small things that Team Cherry like to put little details into in that. It's very weird. Some things that they do really seem like they're put in there to help speedrunning, and then they do things like patch out like half of all speed tech, and you just wonder, like, you know, what? Whose side are you on exactly?
It definitely is an interesting thing to see. You see it there. You see it with the False Knight arena being able to leave it after one cycle. Sure, you see it some other places in the run, and it's really confusing when they patch out speed stuff at the same time. Like
yeah, said. Exactly. Alright. So now I should see Para's heading over. So Paras has enough geo here, so we'll not need to farm any extra geo for dash slash, which you love to see. Not doing any lookdowns here, so there is a small trick you can do on every toll in the game, where after you pay for the toll, if you then briefly look down, and then end the look down, then you actually for some, I believe it's because of just names being called the same thing in the code. The end of the look down animation is the same, triggers the toll to go away instantly, which I don't really know what to say about. That's just such an amazing coincidence that you can't really understate how nice it is. Oh, Pyro's going for anti-clockwise edge. The boomer strats, you love to see it. Yeah, this C-dash can definitely be a bully. You have to time it with the hopper cycle, and if you fall out at all, then the hoppers will not line up because of the differences in spawning. I'm not sure I like this heal, actually.
Yeah, because Pyros will get a really quick bench next to Oro in just a moment.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you don't take it now, but that bench is definitely available, and is really not too bad, compared to the time it takes to heal 3 times.
Yeah. I guess it's really not that bad, depending on how Pyros gathers soul on the way over to Hornet. Might not be too much of a difference.
Yeah. We see OhkoXar scaling the well multiple times. Waiting it out here. Alright. So Para's making her way up to Hornet 2 now. So hopefully this fight will go not too poorly, because this can definitely be a pretty big choke point. OhkoXar, well, I mean, we saw OhkoXar get down to 1 HP, and it's definitely one of the I'd put it at the same level as any percent Watcher Knights in terms of difficulty to learn. It definitely took me, even after the amount of time I invested into any percent, it still took me a good, I want to say, like 15 hours of practice before I felt really comfortable with the fight.
Yeah, it's definitely the biggest fight that's a gateway to this category. Especially when you're trying to do it quick. doing optimal damage to Hornet 2 requires you to be right up in her face the whole time and make like split-second dodges to a lot of her attacks. Pyro's unfortunately starting off getting a lot of parries. Hornet 2 can, notably, for whatever reason, parry spells, because that makes sense. And every time she does that, the runners don't only lose that spell damage,
but also a little bit of their
soul.
sanity.
And that.
Right. I like these heals during Hornet staggers. You know, make the fight as safe as you can. Definitely. You can really not prioritize speed in this fight to start off with, because, you know, losing 30 seconds to Hornet just due to a slow fight is infinitely better than losing a minute to Hornet because of a death.
For sure. Hornet is looking just about dead. I think it'll be only a couple more.
Nice. Okay. No Hornet 2 deaths for Pyros. You love to see it.
Yeah, this is a deathless Hornet 2 race. Surprisingly, not too many of those in this tournament.
Okay, so now Pyros has Kingsbrand, so now we'll be heading down to Abyss. And finishing up in what should be about 5 minutes.
Yeah, and Pyros' PB prior to this race was about a 110, she said. Even though it's not submitted to the leaderboards.
Yeah. I actually think she said it was a 130, but that she was sort of expecting a 110 due to practice. That now is kind of gone thanks to the largely I want to say thanks to the Green Path death. That really puts a damper on basically any chances of PBs, just because it's such a long walk back. I want to say it's like 2 to 3 minutes alone, optimally.
Yeah, definitely. I've had the unfortunate privilege, I guess you wouldn't call it a privilege, to know firsthand how long that takes, because I think this is the 4th race I've calmed in this tournament where someone died in Green Path.
Oh, nice.
So yeah. I'm sorry if I'm calming your race in the future. I might be cursing it.
Oh god. I'll be sure to not use Fury strats on Hornet in my next race. Without the Fury, of course. Would you love to see Oko keeping himself entertained though? He's been at this well jumping for a little while now.
Yeah, just getting some wall jump precision practice. I gotta save those frames, instant dismount.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this well early control is a little bit like unintuitive.
Yeah, especially the dash slash variant of it.
Yeah, fortunately we never do that in current patch, just because we don't actually have dash slash before we have great slash and cyclone. So we just do the great slash one instead.
Definitely a nice benefit of the current patch category.
Oh, now I see. Oh, now okay. Now this makes more sense. Now that chat points out, Oko is actually going for Menderbug here for the longest Menderbug percent time.
That makes sense.
Yeah, breaking the sign on every entry.
Pyros is showing us off that you can go over the lighthouse. I honestly didn't know that was a thing.
Yep.
It's cool to see.
That's a fun little detail. We don't usually use it just because it is faster to go down the bottom left-hand side, but you can go over and it's pretty funny. Right.
Oko has really had some awful mender bug luck right here.
Yeah.
This has got
There
to
should be a 1 in 50 chance. And Oko's just been going straight in, straight out. I wonder if there's like something with like nail arts don't actually make it break properly or something stupid like that.
I don't know. I mean, 1 in 50 is 1 in 50.
Yeah.
Could just be very unlucky. So Pyros will be heading over to Abyssal Shriek here, just showing off some of that Abyss movement. Notably missing some of the C dashes. I'd assume that's just a little bit of lack of practice in the Abyss, or just end of tournament nerves, not thinking about it.
Right. So about a 115 Shriek here. So that should be, if I'm not mistaken, around about a 118, 119 kind of pace we're looking at. Depending on
that sounds
how
about
fast
right.
the THK fight is. And of course the Abyss climb. We'll see.
It's always fun to see how everyone does their Abyss climb watching these races.
Yeah. You can definitely, there are several different ways to go about it. Purely because the optimal strat is very difficult to learn and very easy to mess up in runs. And a lot of people just like, especially newer to the category. I know I avoided learning this for a long time. And when I did, it felt kind of great. Yeah, Purple getting that hazard respawn on the right, the tag. So that's actually really smart. Going further right before you try to do the spike pogo up the left. Though at that point I just wonder if it would be faster to just go straight up. Right, bowing to Hornet. You'll love to see it.
Giving us that Silk Song lock. Maybe. Sometime soon.
You'll have to see chat posting Menderbug's journal out for the world to see. Come on, that's private, guys. Come on.
Yeah, be respectful.
I just want to take a moment to just admire how terrible Oko's luck has been with this. He's been at it for a good while now. This must have been like at least 80 attempts at this. There's no way. Okay, and Pyro's going for Cyclone Knight as well. Absolutely.
Love to see it.
We love to see the content on these races.
Yeah, so at this point, it's looking like Pyros is on pace for either a high 118 or more likely a low 119.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, why am I saying I think? I know what the comsop is for this. I have the comsop for this is 105. So, I'd expect like a pretty good fight to be anywhere from 110 to 115. And then you have the amazing fights, sort of below 110.
Pyro's running into a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll get a
Unfortunately,
stagger soon.
You can get a fair amount of iframes just from the fact you both have D-Dark and Shade Cloak. You can use that to keep yourself safe for a little bit. But obviously, it is sort of a one-use thing. You D-Dark, you Shade Cloak, and then you have to be out of the way after that, otherwise you're taking damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
And since the Hollow Knight is beating Pyros up a little bit here, I think it's worth mentioning that for the people more familiar with the 1-2-2 runs, or 1-2-2-1 runs of Hollow Knight, the Hollow Knight is significantly faster on current patch, which makes the fight a good deal harder, which is why you're seeing Pyros get hit by a couple more slashes than we normally expect.
Yeah. It's also worth noting that the Flame Pillar's attack does double damage, which sounds bigger than it is, but then it's very weird in that it goes from, like, it sounds massive, and then it doesn't really make that big a difference, right up until you get a really, really bad pattern with the Flame Pillars and just can't avoid it.
Yeah, Pyros almost got hit by a pillar the moment you said that. With
yeah,
two
I've got a almost curse, Yeah, I'd like to see a stream here. I think one stream would finish this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright. Cool.
Alright, GG's, Pyros.
And healing off the extra soul as well to ensure you can't press focus too early here. Right, so that should get the runners as done. So let's mark them as done. Alright. And that should give an invite. Alright. And see if we can get Oko in here. Alright.
Boy.
Okay, we got both the runners here. Alright. Okay, how's your Mendebug RNG going?
My goodness. Dude,
Still more lucky than dying to Hornet 1.
Yeah, oh, that hurts.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing is the restream actually dropped out for the Hornet 1 death. So so we didn't see anything. We just saw you re-enter Green Path with Broken Soul Vessel, and we were like, oh no.
Ironically enough, this is the first time that my timer did not decide to break in the middle of a race, so I finally have good times and I can finally save these times. And it actually was faster than the last time this happened. The last time this happened, it was a 122. This time I got a 120. It's not the best. That wasn't the best increase in time, but let's just look at it this way. I died to Hornet, and I still got a better time than last time.
Yeah. That practice really paying off.
Yeah. It would have paid off even more if I didn't die to Hornet and literally all my momentum didn't just fall off.
Yeah, it's always
I hate being
unfortunate
momentum
starting
based
off.
when it comes to...
Yeah. It's always really unfortunate when you take an early death like that. It can definitely be very demoralizing, because you start off already thinking, alright, now I need to play really, really well to make up the time, and that stress piles on, and you end up with a lot more small mistakes here and there that really add up.
Not only that, but it doesn't also help that I think that the damage from the spike in the Gome room just pushed me up as well. I did get the cycle, but not the cycle, the movement the second time, but the first time it just...
Yeah, darn second attack, extra attack, man.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Umu fourth turn.
You can practice Umu one cycle all you want, and then as soon as you get into a race, Umu will extra attack for like the first time in a billion years.
Yeah. I mean, I normally am used to the free turn setup, but I just screwed it over so badly. Oh god.
By the way, that
Okay,
THK fight was fun.
The best part, though, for me was the amount of golds I got from the last time. I got a gold on Claw. I got a gold on Golden Husk. I got a gold on getting to King Station. I got a gold on Desolate Dive. Not Desolate Dive. On.
Jay, we're gonna grab Cafe Rio.
Okay. Is it Desolate Dive? Yeah, it's DD. DD. No.
Mm-hmm.
Descending Dive. I got a gold on the Vaneo Art for Speen. I forgot the actual name, so I'm just calling it Spin. I got a gold on Watcher Knights. That was nice. I got a gold on Monarch Wings. I got a gold on.
Well, you got a bunch of golds.
Yeah, I literally got literally half of my splits were golds.
Yeah, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 golds.
Damn.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's like the best use for races is sort of having that opportunity to, even when you're behind, just sort of go, yep, I still need to, you know, the run, because no matter what in a race, you can't just say the run is dead. You have to sort of fight to keep it alive.
Yeah.
And so it's one of the best opportunities for gold farming, definitely.
Anyways, as this is probably my last race of a tourney, I need to end it off on a big note.
Alright. I wonder if we'll see something cursed coming up on the right-hand side of the screen soon.
I'm not sure.
Alright.
Come on, Ninderbug!
I mean, it is cursed to some people, but it is blessed to other people. Depends on your standing.
Alright, do I end the stream before it can happen is the question.
Which one?
I mean, do you want to see a vessel die?
Well,
I've been at this for like, what, 11, 12 minutes?
Yeah, I think we were discussing...
There we go!
Alright. I think we were discussing whether Menderbug actually wouldn't show up if you hit it with a nail art, but...
Yeah, I know.
These are just theories.
Imagine if that actually was the case.
Alright.
Well, I'm having abysmal luck. In any case...
Okay, Oko, look at it this way. You're having abysmal luck now, you're going to have the greatest luck ever for the next couple of races. You're spending all of your unluckiness right now.
I mean, like, that is true, but then again, the first time I ever got Menderbug, I spent all of my luck, because I was like, during my casual playthrough, I was like, hey, with my sister, and she was like, here, I'm going to show you Menderbug, and like, without really telling her, and I, on my first attempt, I D-dart down the well and got it.
Oh god. Yeah, that was lucky.
Alright. So I think we'll have to stop here. Alright. So if there is any final thoughts from the runners,
Absolutely.
Final wishes.
Yeah, GG to Pyros, definitely, and runner and comms are cute, as well as chat.
GG to Oko. The best of luck in the semi-finals for losers. That's going to be fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
And yeah, that's all from me, I guess.
Alright. So yeah, thank you very much from the runners. Thank you very much for everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this race. There is another race at 9:30 PM Eastern time. That will be on SpeedGaming 1 between Homothety and Tater on and that will be on 1221 in the I almost said upper bracket, in the 1221 bracket. So a really high tier race there. Alright. So alright, thank you everyone, and have a wonderful rest of your days. Cheerio.
Absolutely.
A great day, guys.
GG's.
GG.